Hello, and thank you for joining me in today's presentation. My name is Cristian Ramirez, and I am a data analyst with the Strategic Communications team here at CHDS. In today's presentation, titled Infographics, a picture's worth 1,000 words, I will explain on a general level what an infographic is, what purpose they serve, and how they can be utilized to create compelling visual messages. I will touch on the various types of infographics that exist and look at some examples of how they are used in the real world. By the end of this session, you will have enough knowledge to build your own infographics. So, what are infographics? Many of you have probably seen them around your work offices, on the internet, or even around the doctor's office. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, an infographic is a visual representation of information or data. In other words, a collection of imagery, charts, and a minimal text that give an easy-to-understand overview of a topic. In today's digital age, infographics are becoming an increasingly popular medium of communication because of their ability to convey a message almost instantly. They are a valuable tool for visual communication and useful when you have a complex message you need to summarize using more than just your words. There's an abundance of research proving the effectiveness of infographics and visual communication over traditional methods of information sharing. One study conducted in 2016 proved infographics are superior to traditional methods because they are more understandable, more memorable, and thus more effective in conveying a message to an audience. Although the study was done in a classroom setting, the research concluded that infographics could serve as an effective and memorable form of communication in areas outside of the classroom. Other research says people remember 65% of the information they see in a visual, while only 10% of people remember what they hear out loud. Visualizing all forms of communication to the best of your ability ensures your message will reach the most people possible. For example, one professor may give the study sheet on the left to their students. A different professor may give the one on the right. And based on the research, the student with the more visually stimulating study sheet on the right would score higher than the student who were given bulleted lists like the one shown to the left. The human brain processes visuals 60,000 times faster than text, which is why humans tend to remember new and different things when they are presented visually. Information shared in a visual manner reaches a larger audience than simple text and makes the information more digestible. Here is a common infographic that I'm sure you all have seen at one point within the last few years. This is LabCorp's instructions on how to correctly wash your hands to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. The infographic is designed in a simple manner with a numbered step-by-step process, which creates direction for the reader to follow. Now, let's use the example to consider some questions that will help you grasp the fundamentals of an effective infographic. First, what is the objective of this infographic? The answer to this question is almost always answered by looking at the title. The title of an infographic gives insight into what the creator wants you to start thinking about as you move on to the body. In this case, LabCorp is trying to inform us on the right way to wash our hands to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Others may pose a question, make a statement, or express an idea. Here, there are 6 numbered steps to the LabCorp's hand washing process, each step with its own short description. The objective is met when a person follows the steps according to the order shown in the infographic. When developing your own infographic, use the title wisely, as it will set the tone for what your objective is. Now, let's look at the next question. Is there data behind this infographic? Although the example that we have above doesn't show what you would consider traditional data, you can consider the 6-step process to be the data. Does it look to be correct? In this case, are the steps in the correct order? If any of the steps were out of order, someone following these guidelines could potentially wash their hands in a way that doesn't effectively wash away the COVID-19 virus, defeating the purpose of the infographic itself. It's important that all data is properly labeled, in order and given to context. Make sure all data is from reputable sources and is free of any bias that could hurt your credibility. The last question to ask yourself to better understand the fundamentals of an effective infographic requires you to consider design. Does the design of this infographic affect my ability to understand the message it is conveying? For the purpose this example serves, a numbered step-by-step process infographic best showcases how to achieve the objective. If the objective of the infographic was different, perhaps to inform of a topic rather than provide step-by-step instructions, then the design would need to be reconfigured. Informational styles contain much more information. Statistical styles are number-heavy. It is important to consider the font styles, colors, and objects used in an infographic. Think about it as choosing a theme, because all elements must be consistent throughout. This idea will become clear as we look at some examples in just a moment. Now, before we look at some examples, let's summarize what we just learned. The three principles of infographics are objective, data, and design. When developing an infographic, ask yourself these three questions. What is the objective of my infographic? Be sure to use your title wisely and hint at the overall objective through a powerful statement or question. Then support the objective in the body. What is the data behind my infographic? Check that all data is accurate, from reputable sources, and free of any bias. How will the design impact the readability of my infographic? Use consistent fonts, color palettes, and objects to create an engaging theme that increases the visual stimulation of your infographic. Now, you may be wondering about the types of infographics and when each one is appropriate to use. As I go through the various styles of infographics, remember to ask yourself about the three principles we discussed: objective, data, and design. If your objective involves the need to visualize survey results, present data from multiple sources, or back up an argument with relevant data, then a statistical infographic is the best style to do so. A statistical infographic puts the focus on your data. The layout and visuals will help you tell the story behind your data. Your storytelling devices can include charts, icons, images, and eye-catching fonts. In this example, each statistic contains an object that helps balance the amount of text there is. The orange and bold statistics draw viewers' eyes to the data and pop out from the dark background color. This data supports the objective, which is to showcase how much we love Halloween by the numbers. An informational style infographic is best for clearly communicating a new or specialized concept, or to give an overview of a topic. Typically, these are divided into sections with descriptive headers. It's best practice to alternate between different colors in each section, types of visuals, and direction to keep readers engaged, as shown in this example. Lastly, illustrate concepts using icons and images. You'll find that this is a recurring theme across the board. Visual elements are important to all infographics. The human attention span is shrinking as information sharing is as easy as swiping across your phone for the latest news. The digital age has dropped our attention spans from 12 seconds in the early 2000s to about 8 seconds in 2015. For reference, the average attention span for goldfish is 9 seconds. Hence, the need for attention-grabbing visuals is as high as ever. Timeline infographics are best for visualizing the history of something, to highlight important dates, or to give an overview of events, for example, a project timeline. Because humans tend to make sense of time spatially, a timeline infographic can help paint a clearer picture of a time frame through visual aids like lines, icons, photos, and labels to help highlight and explain points in time. Some best practices are to connect the different points in time. Use a bold, contrasting font to highlight the year or name of each event, and illustrate each point in time with a simple icon. When necessary, provide a brief description for each point in time. Descriptions can explain the significance of the period or offer an intriguing fact about the point in time. In this case, the description contains the most iconic appliance model for each decade. While timeline infographics highlight points in time, process infographics provide a summary or overview of the steps in a process. Process infographics simplify and clarify each step. Most process infographics follow a straightforward top to bottom or left to right flow and are numbered to make the steps easy to follow. To help the flow of information, use directional cues like arrows, lines, and other shapes that point the eyes in the desired direction. If you have many steps to fit into one process infographic, try using a unique layout like the snake layout shown in this example on how to make a margarita. Now here's a second example. Note how the directional cue of the pencil matches the overall theme of the infographic. The flow of information does not follow a straight path, and elaborate directional cues are key in keeping the reader engaged. Geographical infographics use map charts as the focus visual. Different types of map charts work better for different types of data. One can be as simple as to point out locations on a map using icons and brief labels. Heat maps are very effective and are used to visualize density by area, as well as to create a hierarchy of data. The example shown here visually highlights COVID cases by state. States with higher case numbers are darker in color compared to less infected states. A map series could also be used to compare location-based information or to show changes over time, such as the effects of deforestation by region. Whether you want to compare options in an unbiased way or you want to make one option seem better, a comparison infographic is the best style to do so. Comparison infographics are typically split down the middle, vertically or horizontally, with one option on each side. If applicable, divide your infographic into columns to show more than two options. Contrasting colors are used to set the two options apart. You can also use a brighter, more eye-catching color to emphasize the option you ideally want readers to choose. In this example, good posture is given the green color and bad posture is red. Colors are an important psychological factor to be aware of. The simple color scheme tells the readers everything they need to know about what option is better, even if they don't read into the subsections on each side. A hierarchical infographic organizes information from most important to least important, or vice versa. Most common is the pyramid representation, which flows from greatest at the bottom to least important at the top. An organizational flowchart can be used to visualize a chain of command or to show how something is broken down into parts. All of the above fall under the hierarchical style of infographics. This style is less used than others as it requires the need to showcase information on a scale of importance. List infographics are generally straightforward. The goal is to make them more eye-catching than a basic list. Visuals like icons replace bullet points, and creative fonts and colors make each item stand out. As with process infographics, it's wise to number the points in your list to help the information flow, but it is not required. Just because this is a list does not mean it needs to follow the top to bottom layout. Items in the list can be scattered throughout the space of your infographic, and each item in the list may have its own color or style to differentiate them from one another, like the example shown here. Now, before I conclude this session, I would like to add that infographics can be as simple or complex as you desire. Simpler examples contain less text and focus on a more general topic or idea, like those seen in this session so far. Complex infographics can be used to replace in-depth summary reports, such as the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency's Social Media Bots Overview report shown here. That concludes today's session on infographics. If you would like to try your hand at creating your own infographic, please click the link under this video. You will gain access to Canva, an easy-to-use software tool for building infographics and other visual forms of communication. I will be holding office hours at the time specified by your instructor for those of you who have questions about the Canva tool. Thank you.